Hey guys, Raven here. I am just preparing to do some uh, updates on some cosplay, and I'm a little sick. But since I promised all of you guys that I would do this, I am. So sorry if it sounds like crap, but I'm just gonna work on my satyr or fawn legs, whatever you would like to call them, for my succubus costume. So. I didn't really start in the beginning, so this is kind of halfway through, but I'll give you kind of an idea of what I did. So first, I basically just took a piece of paper and drew the size of how much I wanted my knees and my calves to stick out in the fur. So for example, and they're stuck to the leggings that I had made them on. Here is my awful sculpting of foam. So I just bought normal foam from Joann's, Michael's, any craft store that you can find. It's usually, you know, the stuff that you can stick into pillows or anything. And with the paper that when I cut it out, I just basically used, I believe I did, 3 inches for the height, and then 5 inches down. And obviously it's an angle. I kind of just eyeballed it, but you know, rulers really help. And you cut out 2 pieces for each one because you want it to be thick enough to where it fits on your knee. Now, if you have really small knees, you're not going to need this much. And if you have really big knees, you might need more. It just depends. So kind of see how much, but if you get coupons from Joann's or Michael's, I got 50% off. So this only, a huge piece, only cost me maybe like $7. So really inexpensive. Or if you have old foam lying around, this is a good way to recycle it. So you cut out a total of 4 pieces is what I needed. 1 for the top and 1 for the bottom. And you need to make sure you mark it really, really well. Because I actually started, as you can see, shaving it here on the wrong side because I did not mark it well. I thought that was supposed to be the top or out, and it wasn't. So again, this is what it looks like when you're all done. I started off using scissors to kind of shave these pieces, just so they kind of look a little more rounded. Because if you think about it, your knee is obviously not this round. And then to clean it up, you can use whatever you want, honestly. You don't have to buy new tools or anything. So, knife, serrated edges, nice bread knife. Yeah, so, and it worked pretty well. It doesn't have to be perfect because it's going to be hidden under your fur. So, really, just don't worry about it. So that's the knee. When you are done making these, then you will have this fun time making your pattern. Now, I cut mine differently than most do. You do not have to cut mine the way I did. I mean, yours the way I did. So, again, this is the knee. You can see the foam. Oops, wrong side. Which one? That's the back. Okay. So, I glued this to a pair of leggings with hot glue while you're standing up because you want to make sure that the points of the knee match. And then when you bend, they're going to move. So it almost looks like a really awful Pac-Man or something. You will probably need someone else to help you with this, or not. It just depends on how flexible you are. My girl Shannon helped me. So once you have your knees and then the back of your leg done, so again, on your calf, this is what the calf piece looks like. And this sticks, the bend of my knee is about this much, and this sits just below. So it's like right when your calf starts to pop out a little more. And then it goes all the way down. Now with mine, This obviously was not this thin, so I actually cut it out more because my calf gets a lot thinner at the bottom. Some people's don't get as thin, but basically just kind of feel your calf out and go, okay, I can cut about this much out, and then you, again, just shave it. Once you've gotten those 2 pieces done and glued to your leggings, you're just going to basically saran wrap the crap out of yourself. And FYI, it gets really hot, so if you have air conditioning, stuff like that, use it. Please, because when we finally ripped all of this off, my legs were sweating. It was disgusting. I don't recommend it, but it's the only way you can get this done without making them lopsided or not having a good pattern. You can use duct tape. I used clear tape, which is not really recommended because you can't see where you're putting it. You can also use masking tape. Anything that's a little more colorful. I don't recommend duct tape because that's usually more expensive, but a thick masking tape is fine. Or like I said, I use packaging tape. But again, you can't see where the saran wrap is, or plastic wrap, whatever you want to call it. So that's basically my quick tutorial on making a pattern. I cut mine on the inner and outer thigh, but the easiest way to actually, when you want to cut the fur, is probably going straight down the middle. If you cut the fur right, meaning correctly, you won't really see the seam, but I wanted to try to hide the seam as much as possible. Nobody's going to look at my inner or outer thigh, but they will look at my kneecaps. So I wanted to ensure that even with bending, it wasn't going to tear the seam, just in case if I didn't sew it right. Okay, so make sure that you get the right type of fur for what you want. I wanted to go darker yet more realistic, so I got this really pretty pattern. It's so pretty and it's so soft. I love it. Make a scarf out of extra stuff, or a shawl. No animals were harmed while making this, unless if my cat decided to walk through and I yelled at her. So only feelings. So yeah, and also I'll be making a tail, so some of this can be used as the tail. Again, I like darker, but this is a little more realistic because it has the different shades in it. I just thought it was really pretty. But you can go black, you can even, I almost went white because I thought of making a snow one, but that doesn't really fit the video game, The Witcher. And the Succubus that I will actually be doing is from 2 because I didn't want the fur to go all the way up around my butt, which in the end game might be a lot easier, but if you've ever walked in something like this, it's really hot. So, all right. So the first thing I did was I cut out the front piece, which took forever, but we have a nice floofy, furry, fluffy little piece right here. I love it. It's going to be so pretty on my legs. Looks good on the boobs too. Ooh, a shawl. See, this is what I'm saying. This is... Anyway, I'm getting off track. When you are cutting with your pattern, give yourself 1.5 inches at least seam allowance. Mark very well where things are. I marked only at here that this is the bottom, and I left additional material because I don't know what shoes I'm using yet. I've been having a hard time finding the shoes I want. You can use sneakers, you can use stilettos, anything, because with having the back of your calves pointed out more, it gives you more allowance at the bottom for your feet. I'm hoping to find some gravity shoes. I don't know how comfortable I don't know how comfortable they'll be, but I think they'd be the best because they don't have a heel. They have a heel, but the heel curves in more, so you have to be very careful when you're walking in them. I'll probably break my ankle. If I had time, I would make stilts, but I don't have time for this. So WonderCon is coming very quickly. So I've cut out a knee, and now I'm going to start working on cutting out the pattern for the back of the leg, which will hopefully be a lot a lot easier than how difficult the front was. And you will have to do both legs. Sorry, because some people's legs are, you know, one is longer than the other. Just like some people's boobs are lopsided and different, and one is bigger than the other. Finally, I did cut out 2 pieces for my foot. So if the shoes that I finally find need a little extra poof, they're done. I forgot, I did not give the measurements for the back. Make sure that when you're doing the cut, it can be, I think I did 4 inches tall and then 6 inches wide. Again, you want it longer because it's just one streamlined piece on your calf. Your calf doesn't bend. Down there on your leg does not bend, so you don't have anything to worry about there. So that's about it for that. If you have any questions, don't forget you can email me at thefatalsiren@gmail.com. You can send me a message on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, anything. I don't care. I will answer you. I don't ignore people unless if something passes by me and I don't realize it. So yeah, let's get started. Okay, so obviously you're going to need a flat surface because you are going to be cutting, trimming, all that fun stuff for, when you're cutting the sides you can use scissors, but when it comes to the fur that you want to hang down, you have to be very careful, because if you cut the hanging pieces, then you're just going to have this odd line. Usually you'll see that happen when you go get it cut at the fabric store. They don't know what they're doing. They cut the fur and then it looks funky. So for example, when I cut this, and I was still very, very careful. First, here's where you can see. I actually did a better job than what they did, but this is the end. So see how it looks lighter and just, it's too even. It's not shaggy, it's not, but I'm going to put a hem on it so that we'll fix it, and then it'll kind of make it look a little more accurate, or what it should look like. But down here, it looks a little more rough because I actually used, even though I am going to hem this, I used a blade. You can use a razor blade, you can use an X-Acto knife. My X-Acto knife is crap because I need some new ones and didn't realize it. But you know, I'm like a glutton for punishment, so I will sit there and use this crappy one. Sorry for the noise. I also recommend a marker, Sharpie, or if it's a lighter fabric, you can use chalk pencils to make your markings. All right. Also, I recommend a ruler or a measuring tape, something so that you can do your seam allowance. Okay. So that's the front. And again, make sure you mark detailed markings. What I mean by that is, this is the right leg. This is the front of the right leg. This is the top, and this is the bottom. If you don't do it, you're going to spend so much time trying to fix this. And I'm sure some of you have already done sewing, so you know that it's a pain in the butt when you can't remember what side is up or down. I have big thighs, so I was able to remember which side is which. But for some of you adorably skinny people with no thighs, you're going to have a more difficult time. So that's the done piece. Straight pins, so you can pin your pieces to it. I think that's all we need. I'm going to move my water out of the way in my cool True Blood cup. I can't believe how dehydrated I am, by the way, because of this stupid cold. So, I'm going to have to stand up now and try to, you're going to have to eyeball it, but you're going to find that it's going to get really frustrating the first time around trying to make this piece. If you cut it the way I did. If you cut up and down, then your pattern is a lot simpler. But again, you know, I like to just, I'm terrible to myself. It's really ridiculous. So just to give you an idea, that's what it looks like. Well, with the knee in there. I think it's more down like this. I don't know. Anyway, so we're going to cut this piece. Now that I figured this shit out.